Hi, my name's Will, the Scrum Master for our group, which consists of myself, Caleb, Dylan, Derekai and Xavier. And this is just a quick recap on Sprint 1. The project we've chosen was the Check Your Car project, Project A. So we'll be designing and building a website where people can visit to check if there's any recall notices or defect notices against their particular vehicle. For the logistics of our project, we've been using Microsoft Teams as our main point of communication. Through here we're able to schedule all our meetings, catch up and plan, discuss the project, and we can also use the chat mode during the day to share ideas as we're going. All our planning documentation is stored here, but for all our development documentation and files we'll be using GitHub, where we can store it all and work on it collaboratively, as well as, given it's a good repo, we can go back versions to add or remove features as we see fit. And obviously Trello is being used to do all the sprint planning and task assignment. With our Trello board, we started by defining all our user stories, and from there we were able to derive some features which we've added to the board. As we're adding the features, we've also assigned them a role, at least one role, sort of front end, back end, database, whatnot, which made it much easier when we're pulling the tasks out to then assign obviously a role and also develop it or work on it. Once we had that all in place, we then started to go through and assign an effort rating to each task. This obviously not straightforward. We're new to this sort of thing, so this is obviously guesstimation at this point, but something we'll be able to improve on come Sprint 2. For the development roles, we've each taken ownership of a particular area. So for front end, we've got Caleb in charge. Derekai will be managing the back end development. I'll be taking lead on the database side of things, while Dylan will be managing the communication elements, and we've got Xavier taking care of all the security for this particular project. Covering the Scrum roles, myself as Scrum Master will be accountable for establishing the Scrum meetings and making sure we stay on task and we work to the Agile framework, and also making sure that everyone understands what's going on and their role within the project. Product owners accountable for maximising the value that is delivered with this product, and that the Scrum team understand what it is they're delivering and why. All of us as the developers within the team are going to be committed to creating the best product we can and making sure that we understand what our role is within this particular project. For our user stories, we came at it with the approach of trying to understand it from all the users' perspectives, and we identified two main users as the customers and also as the employees. So we've come up with a few simple stories for customers and also for the employees of just how they're going to use the data and why they want to use it that way. And from that, we've managed to pull out these particular stories in no real order, but the crux of it for the car owner is they want a simple and easy process where they can check for any relevant recalls against their vehicle to give them peace of mind about the safety of their car. And the other big takeaway for car owners is they want to know their data's secure, so they don't want to be putting information into a website that they're unsure of what's going to happen to it. From the point of view of the employees, they want to be able to maintain their system with ease. So for people like the data administrators and the developers, they want the ability to get into the system, update the data, remove the data, manipulate it in any way they need to. So that was the main consideration from their point of view. But also the other areas of the business, such as the finance team and the customer support team, they want the ability to be able to search through the data to find what's relevant to the case or the records they're working on. So that was another big consideration. From those stories, we've managed to pull out these sort of main features. The database obviously being a big one, sort of the central point of the whole product. The website being the main interface that everyone's going to see and associate with this product. The ability to check cars obviously is the main reason people will be using it. User registration and login, which is a big plus for both customers and the employees, and also recall notifications to prevent people having to come back to review for new issues later on. During the course of this sprint, we've encountered a number of issues, but these are sort of the four main talking points. Organising group meetings is obviously difficult when everyone's working remotely. Everyone's got different schedules we've got to try and coordinate. But I think we sort of settled into a routine and a pattern now where we've managed to find a sweet spot where we can catch up a few times a week, which has been good. Understanding the Agile framework, some team members had worked with it before, had more knowledge, but other team members like myself, not as familiar with it, so it took a while to get us all up to speed and understand how it worked and what it was all about. But that will help us going forward as well as our understanding grows. Assigning roles to each member, not a massive issue, but again, as we weren't all too familiar with certain aspects, some of us had to put our hands up for roles that we may not be that familiar with. But again, it's a learning experience, so that's all good. And the estimation of effort, again, not having worked on these kind of projects, it's a new experience and something that we'll no doubt learn from. Our main improvement points going forward will be trying to schedule more regular Scrum meetings to stay on top of the workload and make sure we're all staying in touch with the project so that things don't slip through the gaps. And assigning story points to estimate the required time. If we can narrow them down and get the story points more accurate, then we'll be able to assign a more accurate time to each particular piece, which will help us going forward. And that's all from us for Sprint 1.